Hello friends, I welcome you to yet another session of verbal ability. Today we'll be discussing on a topic that students find very confusing and it holds a lot of relevance for different competitive examinations. We'll be discussing on prepositions today. So by the end of the session, you should be able to learn what are prepositions, how many kinds of prepositions are there, and how are they used. Plus, how should you solve the questions which are based on prepositions. So, starting with the very basic definition of preposition. What is a preposition? Preposition is a word which is used before a noun phrase, or a pronoun, connecting it to another word. As we have learned in the previous session, pronouns are the words which are used at the place of nouns. So nouns and pronouns more or less are the same things. So you can say prepositions are those words which are used before nouns or noun phrases. Some of the very common examples of prepositions are words like on, upon, in, into, above, beneath, below, etc. And these are actually used a lot in our day-to-day conversations. We'll be learning about different kinds of prepositions now. So the broad categories are simple prepositions. Then we'll be talking about compound prepositions. So let us learn what are simple prepositions and what is the difference between the two types of prepositions here. Simple prepositions are those prepositions which consist of only one word. So all the examples that we took so far, on, upon, below, beneath, above, etc., are all simple prepositions because they consist of only one word. Compound prepositions, on the other hand, are the prepositions which consist of two or more words. Examples are instead of, in the middle of, by the side of, by the end of, etc. So we can say simple prepositions are the prepositions which consist of only one word. Compound prepositions, on the other hand, are the prepositions which consist of two or more words. So here, as you can see on the screen, we have some examples of prepositions coming. We've tried mixing simple prepositions and compound prepositions also. Let us see which are the prepositions. On. On is used for showing a position which is on something or on the top of something. Through, when you cross something. Behind is used for at the back of something. For, in order to indicate a purpose. Beneath is again below. Against. Beside is for proximity or closeness. Over, on the top of. During is a preposition that is used for time duration. Without, in the absence of. Abroad, across. Among is for making a comparison between two or more articles. Against, around, at the end, the bottom, between, behind, below, by, inside, corner. Into, via. Via is the same as through. After, to, about, in, on, at, since, while, under, over, right, left. We'll have a detailed discussion around all these prepositions and the types of prepositions. Let us talk about a few of them right now. In. What do you think? What is in used for? And how do you differentiate between in and into? Can you think over it? Yes, let us see what is the answer. In and into, the basic difference is in indicates stability, or in is used for stationary items. On the other hand, into indicates a motion or a movement. Let us understand with the help of an example. So what would you say? I am sitting in the room or into the room? Yes, you guessed it right. The answer here should be I am sitting in the room. On the other hand, if you say he entered, what would you say? He entered in the room or into the room? Yes, you would say he entered into the room, because into is used for a motion or it indicates a movement. Let us have another example. Just try and answer it if you can. He is swimming in the pool or into the pool? Should it be in the pool? So if you thought into, you got confused. The answer here should be in. Let us see. He is swimming in the pool, but on the other hand, you would say he jumped into the pool. Now understand the difference. He is swimming in the pool. That is not motion. You are inside the pool only. On the other hand, when you say he jumped into the pool, now that is what we mean by motion. Motion or movement which is taking place from the other direction. Let us continue for now. We'll discuss on all of them in detail. So, the kinds of prepositions will be broadly divided in three categories now, which are prepositions of place, prepositions of time, and prepositions of direction. Let us see what is the difference and what are the sample examples for each one of them. So, starting with the first category first, which is prepositions of place. So, these prepositions show where something happens. They are called prepositions of place. That means every question, every statement that uses prepositions of place, you can question the same by using a word like where. Let us see. The first example here. Sunny was sitting under a tree. Now, if I have to frame a question out of the given statement, I can say, where was Sunny sitting? So, the answer for the same would be, Sunny was sitting under a tree. So, this is what we mean by preposition of place. These prepositions show where or the place the action is taking place. So, the action in the given sentence is sitting. The doer of the sentence is Sunny. Where was he sitting? He was sitting under a tree. There is a wooden floor underneath the carpet. Now, if I have to frame a question out of it, I would say, where is the wooden floor? So, you would say, the wooden floor is underneath the carpet, or you may say, there is a wooden floor underneath the carpet. The next example, some geese flew over their house. So, the question would be, where did some geese fly? The answer would be, they flew over their house. John and Sarah were hiding inside the wardrobe. So, can you frame a question out of it? What should it be? It would be, where were John and Sarah hiding? They were hiding inside the wardrobe. There was a tree beside the river. Now, can you differentiate between beside and besides? These are two words which are very repetitively asked in different questions based on prepositions in competitive examinations. Can you understand the difference? Beside versus besides. Beside is a preposition which implies proximity or closeness. On the other hand, besides means apart from or in addition to. Let us understand the same with the help of an example. There was a tree beside the river. That means the tree was close to the river. The tree was standing very close to the river. So, beside is indicating proximity here or indicating closeness. On the other hand, besides means in addition to. It means apart from. For an example, besides cat, he's taking Zat also this year. So, besides here would imply in addition to or apart from. Coming back to the same preposition, the same sentence here. There was a tree beside the river. So, if we have to frame a question out of it, we would say, where was the tree? So, you would say, the tree was beside the river, or there was a tree beside the river. Next example, I have a friend who lives in America. So, that is another preposition in, which is a preposition of place. So, in order to frame a question for this statement, we would say, where does your friend live? So, you would say, my friend lives in America. So as you can see, these all are the prepositions of place. Certain examples that we saw used prepositions like under, underneath, over, inside, beside, in, etc. Now we'll move on to the second type of prepositions, which are prepositions of time. So these prepositions show when something happens, or they indicate time. As in prepositions of place, we could question every statement by using a WH interrogative word like where. Here, in prepositions of time, we can again frame questions out of every statement by asking a question like when. Let us see a few examples. School starts at 9 o'clock. So, if I have to frame a question for this, I would say, at what time does the school start? Or I can say, when does the school start? So, you would say, the school starts at 9 o'clock. We are going to the zoo on Saturday. When are you going to the zoo? We are going to the zoo on Saturday. Now you can't watch a video. It's past your bedtime already. What is the time? It's past your bedtime already. I visited my grandparents during the summer. When did you visit your grandparents? I visited my grandparents during the summer. So during is again a very prominently used preposition of time. You must finish the work by Friday. So what is the deadline to finish the work? Or by which day I must finish the work? Now, can you differentiate between by and on? What would be the difference between the two sentences if I say, you must finish the work on Friday versus you must finish the work by Friday? What is the difference? See, when you say on Friday, that means the job has to be done on this particular day, Friday. But when we say by Friday, that means till Friday the job should be finished. You can obviously use all the other days before that. I'll do my homework before dinner. So before is again a preposition of time, which indicates that when is the job to be done. So I'll do my homework before dinner. When will you do your homework? I'll do my homework before dinner. So that answers the question. So in this particular slide, we talked about a few prepositions of time. Certain examples of prepositions of time that we used were on, at, during, by, before, past, etc. Now the third category. After learning prepositions of place and prepositions of time, we've come to the third category, which is the prepositions of direction. These prepositions show where something is going. Remember, they would always indicate a direction. They are not the same as prepositions of place. Prepositions of place indicated a particular place where the job is to be done. Prepositions of direction, on the other hand, would indicate a direction where something is going. Let us understand with the help of some examples. The boys chased after each other. Chasing after, that means they were running after each other. So after here is being used as a preposition of direction. Now remember, a particular preposition can be used in 2-3 different categories. After can also be used as a preposition of time. When will your father come? My father will come after 6 p.m. So it's not necessary a particular preposition can be used only in one category. You can use a particular preposition in 1, 2, or if possible in all 3 types. The football rolled down the hill. Again a preposition of direction. The football was going down the hill. It was following it. A man was walking his dog along the river bank. So that's again a preposition of direction. Now remember, along can be even a preposition of place as well. The freeway goes right through the city. That indicates direction. Where does the freeway go? Freeway goes right through the city. We are traveling towards Miami. Where are you traveling towards? We are traveling towards Miami. So we should not try to draw a clear line of difference among the three types. As said earlier, a particular preposition can be used in one or more category. Now we'll be talking about certain prepositions with special uses. That means a particular preposition which can be used in one or more above defined categories. So starting with one of the most primarily used prepositions, that is of, of. So the usage of with the help of some examples. The first example, our modules are full of real life examples. That means our modules contain real life examples. So of, as you can notice in this particular sentence, indicates adjoinment, indicates connection. So the modules are full of real life examples, indicates a link between real life examples and our modules. I ate a plate of rice and quarter of milk. Let us see what does of do here. A plate of rice. So a plate that belongs to rice, which contains rice, and a quarter of milk. How much milk? A quarter of milk. Would you like a glass of lemon juice? So what does the glass contain? The glass would contain lemon juice. I need 3 pieces of paper. What do you need? You need 3 pieces of paper. So pieces belong to paper here. Most of the children in my class like education. So most of the children. Most is a part of defining some particular percentage. Most is defining that majority of the children in my class like education. There are several ways of cooking upma. This one is a little special one. Let us see how. As we have learnt about gerunds in the previous class, just to revise, a gerund is verb plus ing form. So cooking is a gerund here. Before gerund, you should always remember a preposition like of has to come. So after of, you cannot write an infinitive. You should always write a gerund. So I would be wrong if I say there are several ways of to cook upma. That's wrong. So after of, a gerund has to come. So under the usage of, we talked about adjoinment, or we talked about connection or link that of shows. After learning the usages of, we'll come to for. I made this bookmark for mom. For here, the usage of for here indicates for whom the job has been done. Towards whom? Whom have you targeted in order to make this bookmark? The person has targeted mom. That means I made this bookmark for mom. Is there room for me on the seat? So for is again linking the room with me. I'd like a new computer for Christmas. That means for this particular occasion, on this purpose of Christmas, I'd like a new computer. So for, if you can understand, indicates a specific reason, objective or purpose behind the action. We are going down for a meeting. Why are you going down? I'm going down for a meeting. I made this gift for my mother. Whom did you make it for? You made it for your mother. Is there a place for me on the seat? I'd like a new laptop for next year. So for as a preposition is used for indicating a purpose, objective or a specific reason for the action taking place. The usage of with now. With can be used in several ways. With can be used as an additional tool. With can be for an objective. With can be for an accessory which is being used. He pounds nails with a hammer. So how does he pound nails? He pounds nails with a hammer. Mix the flour with water. She painted the picture with her new paints. So how did she paint the picture? What did she use to paint the picture? She painted the picture with her new paints. Would you like to come with us to the cinema? So with here indicates an adjournment also. With is for indicating a unity. I can do difficult problems with help from mom. Who's the man with the beard? The man who's having beard. The next preposition that is coming up here is except and instead of. The two are quite similar, but obviously there is a difference. The first example, I like all kinds of food except upma. That means I like everything except upma. I don't like upma. I like all the other things. So except, you should remember, is a negative preposition. When you want to exclude something, so you should use except. Everybody came there except you. That means excluding you, everybody was there. Everyone except Tom likes chocolate. That means everyone likes chocolate, but Tom does not. So we've made it like everyone except Tom likes chocolate. We go to school every day except Saturday and Sunday. That means all the days we go to school, and the 2 days that we don't go to school are Saturday and Sunday. You should eat fruit instead of candy. Now could you understand the use of instead of? Instead of is a preposition that is used for at the place of. You should eat fruit instead of candy. That means you should not eat candy and you should eat fruit. Instead of mom, dad is coming to the theater with us. That means mom is not coming along with us. It's dad who's joining us to the theater. We could watch TV instead of reading our books. That means at the place of reading our books, we could watch television. So here, after understanding of and for, we learn the special usage of except and instead of. A few more prepositions following. The usage of like, as and then. So like and as are two prepositions which actually confuse two students a lot. Let us see what is the difference. Catherine looks like her dad. Andrew smiles like her mother. Peter sings like a professional singer. Now if you could notice one similarity among all these three sentences where we are using like. Like is when a comparison is to be drawn between two verbs. Let's see what does that mean. Kathleen looks like her dad. That means she looks similar to her father looks. So the comparison is actually not between Kathleen and her dad. The comparison is between the way two of them look. Andrew smiles like her mother. So the comparison again is between the way two people smile. It's not between Andrew and mother. Peter sings like a professional singer. So comparison here is between the way Peter sings and the way a professional singer would sing. Now the usage of as. As is for making a comparison between two nouns and not two verbs. Let us understand with the help of some examples. Are these shoes the same as those? First of all, there is no verb here. There is no action, there is no activity that is taking place in the sentence. The comparison is being done between two nouns which are shoes, these shoes, and those shoes. Sue is nearly as tall as a teacher. The comparison is again taking place between two nouns which are Sue and teacher. My backpack is bigger than John's. So the comparison is again between two nouns, my backpack and that of John's. Dad is taller than all of us. So than is again used for comparing two nouns. Comparing two nouns. This painting is more beautiful than that one. The neighborhood streets are less busy than downtown streets. So as you can notice, like we use for making comparison between two verbs. As and than we use for making comparison between two nouns. So So after learning the special usage of some prepositions like of, for, except, instead of, than, as, like, we would talk about a few prepositions and how are they used with adjectives and verbs. Prepositions are used with some adjectives. The adjectives in these examples are printed in color here. Dad was angry with us. So here this is used as a modifier for the adjective angry. We are afraid of the big dog. So afraid is an adjective. Along with that, we are using a preposition like of. She is not very interested in sports. So interested as an adjective should always take in after that. John is very good at drawing. Good as a preposition should always take at after that. And please pay attention to the way the sentences have been structured. All these sentences that you see have been picked up from some or the other competitive examination. Mr. Lee is pleased with our work. The teachers are always kind to us. What's wrong with the computer? Now, after talking about prepositions being used with adjectives, here we come to prepositions which are used with certain verbs. Let us see them. I'm looking for my pencil. Have you seen it? Look for, when it is used together, it becomes a phrasal verb which means to search for something. Can you think of another word for pleased? So think of is having in your mind. Does this book belong to you? That means, is it your book? We are listening to CDs. I agree with you. I am in consensus with you. Tell me about the show you saw. Cut the cake into 5 pieces. Divide it in 5 parts. They borrowed money from the bank. So here you could see all verbs with prepositions. So now we'll talk about prepositions which are used with nouns. What's the answer to this question? So the answer here is used as a noun here. It's not being used as a verb. So answer to this question. Is there a reason for this delay? What's the matter with you? Here is an example of good behavior. Congratulations on winning the competition. Traffic can cause damage to the environment. Now we have a practice exercise. Try and solve these questions. Let us start discussing on them. The first question. A cat was sitting dash the roof of my car. So we need to define a preposition of place here. What do you think should be the answer? You can think over any one option. So since we need to define the place here, and the cat would obviously sit on the top of the roof. So you would say a cat was sitting on the roof of my car. Second question. Some people were talking dash the movie. Now we need to fill in a preposition of time here. Had it not been about time, you may think about anything. Probably something like some people were talking about the movie. But here the question says we need to fill in the blank with the preposition of time. So we can say some people were talking during the movie. A man was coming dash us on his bike. So we need to fill in the blank with the preposition of direction. So we can say a man was coming towards us on his bike. The party starts dash 6 o'clock. An easy one. A preposition of time. The party starts at 6 o'clock. She put the book dash her bag. She put the book along with, or you could also say beside her bag. You could also say she put the book into her bag. We walked dash the street to the park. So a preposition of place here would be we walked through the street to the park, or we walked via the street to the park. She keeps her slippers dash her bed. A preposition of place. She keeps her slippers beneath her bed. We always wash our hand dash meals. It should be we wash our hands. We always wash our hands before meals. She ran dash the dog because she was frightened. She ran away from the dog because she was frightened. Now, after understanding prepositions in detail, we'll talk about prepositions and their link with prepositional phrases. So, as we saw, a preposition is a part of speech that introduces a prepositional phrase. For an example in this sentence, Timothy sit on the raft. The preposition, as you must have noticed, is on, and the prepositional phrase here is on the raft. So I can say a prepositional phrase is the preposition plus the noun that follows it. The most used prepositions, as we've discussed, are of, to, in, for, with, on, etc. So here you would find a list of some of the most common prepositions: about, after, against, besides, including, down, except, outside, regarding, times, upon, with, within, without, worth, and many more. We'll have a detailed discussion on prepositions in the coming session as well. Here are some compound prepositions. As we have learned earlier, a compound preposition differs from a simple preposition in the sense it has two or more words in it. So some of the examples of compound prepositions for you are according to, by way of, in addition to, in front of, because of, in spite of, up on, etc. So a preposition indicates a relation between things mentioned in a sentence. Now, let us do a few practice questions. Here you have a sentence in front of you. You should identify which preposition are we using and what is the prepositional phrase. The sentence goes like this: 3 German submarines surrounded the island during the night. Let us see what is the preposition and what is the prepositional phrase here. 3 German submarines. As you can see, submarines is a noun here. 3 German, adjectives to the same. Surrounded, that's a verb. The island, another noun. During the night. So during is the preposition here, a preposition of time. The night, the noun that follows it. So as we learnt, a prepositional phrase means a preposition along with the part that follows it. So prepositional phrase here in the sentence is during the night. And you could also see submarines is a noun here. 3 German becomes adjectives to the same. Surrounded the island. Now surrounded can be used as a verb or it can be a preposition here also. So surrounded becomes, if it is used as a preposition, surrounded the island, the noun that follows it. So surrounded the island becomes one prepositional phrase. The other prepositional phrase here is during the night. During, as we saw, is a preposition of time which is used for indicating time. The night is the prepositional phrase that follows it. So the two prepositional phrases are surrounded the island and during the night. The second example coming up: getting fresh water and vegetables was difficult. They were shipped to the island. The submarines kept bombing the ships carrying these items. Let us identify which all prepositions and prepositional phrases are there in the sentence. Getting fresh water. Getting is a gerund here, or you could also say a present participle form, ing form. Fresh water, water a noun, fresh an adjective to the same. And vegetables was difficult. No preposition as of now. They were shipped to the island. Now, as you must have noticed, there is a preposition coming, to a preposition. The island, the noun that follows it. So we can say the first prepositional phrase in the sentence is to the island. Further, the submarines kept bombing the ships carrying these items. So there was one preposition coming in the sentence which was shift to the islands. Another practice question coming up. Philip's mom wanted to return to Norfolk, Virginia to avoid the war. Let us see which word plays which part of speech here. Philip's mom wanted to return to Norfolk. Now, to return, to is a preposition which is being used along with prepositional phrase to return. To Norfolk, Virginia, that's again prepositional phrase, followed by to avoid. So as you can notice, the three prepositional phrases which are to return, to Norfolk, Virginia, and to avoid. The next practice question here. After leaving the islands of Curacao, their ship was attacked one day outside of Panama. Let us see which all prepositions and prepositional phrases here. After leaving the island. So the first preposition, as you can see, after. Let us search for another preposition, off Curacao. Off is a preposition. Their ship was attacked one day outside of Panama. Outside of another preposition. So the prepositional phrases here are after leaving, off Curacao, outside, and off Panama. The next practice question coming up here for you. Philip ended up on a raft in the Caribbean Sea. He heard a plane flying over, but the plane went on without stopping. So Philip ended up on a raft. So one preposition that you can see comes along with ended. Ended up becomes one preposition. On a raft, the other preposition. He heard a plane flying over. Over, another preposition. But the plane went on without stopping. So the next preposition. As you can notice, the prepositional phrases here are on a raft, in the Caribbean Sea, and without stopping. One more practice question coming up for you. And remember, as we've always emphasized, that the more you practice, the more comfort you would have with the subject matter. Let us look at this question. Philip and Timothy, along with the stew cat, floated to a small island. So Philip and Timothy. Can you identify what is and here? And is a conjunction. It's not a preposition. We'll discuss about conjunctions in the coming sessions. Philip and Timothy, along with stew cat, along with, as you can see, a preposition, floated to, another preposition coming up here. So one prepositional phrase, as you noticed, along with stew cat, and the other preposition phrase is to a small island. Another exercise. Now you have short sentences so that we can take you through the exercise very fast. After dinner, mom went to a baby shower. So after dinner, that becomes one prepositional phrase, and the other preposition, as you can notice, is to. So the prepositional phrase here becomes to a baby shower. The second sentence that follows. We looked below the sink for a bucket. So we looked below. Below is one preposition. So looked below becomes a prepositional phrase. For a bucket. For is a preposition. Prepositional phrase here is for a bucket. So two prepositional phrases in the sentence. Some jogger ran over the hill and past a lake. So some jogger. Jogger is a noun here. Some is a determiner, or you could also call it an adjective before that. Ran over the hill. Over is a preposition. So over the hill becomes a prepositional phrase. And past a lake. Past is a preposition. Past a lake becomes a prepositional phrase coming up here. The next practice question. In June, my cousin went down the Colorado River. In June. In is a preposition of time, as we have learned. So in June becomes a prepositional phrase. Went down the Colorado River. So down the Colorado River becomes another prepositional phrase. Down is a preposition of direction. So two prepositional phrases here in the sentence. The next practice question. During the blizzard, the children remained inside the house. So during the blizzard, during is a preposition of time, as we've learned. So during the blizzard becomes a prepositional phrase. The children remained inside the house. The children being a noun, remained is the past form of a verb. Inside the house. Inside is a preposition of place. The house is a noun. So inside the house becomes another prepositional phrase. So the two prepositional phrases in the sentence are during the blizzard and inside the house. So here we come to the end of the session. We talked about prepositions. Just to revise, prepositions are the words that link a noun with another noun, or they link a noun with a verb. Some of the examples of prepositions are words like on, in, at, below, above, of, etc. We talked about three types of prepositions, which were prepositions of time, prepositions of place, and prepositions of direction. Prepositions of time were those prepositions which can be answered wherein you can frame a question by asking a question like when. Prepositions of place, you can always frame a question by using a word like where. Prepositions of direction indicate towards a particular direction. Then after that, we talked about a few specific prepositions which have multiple usages like of, for, than, as, like, except, instead of, etc. After that, we talked about prepositional phrases. Prepositional phrase is the combination of a preposition plus the nouns or the other parts of speech that follow it. For an example, he is running towards the car. So towards is a preposition here. The car is the noun that follows it. So towards the car in itself becomes a prepositional phrase. In your examinations, you would see you can find multiple questions coming on prepositions and prepositional phrases. So it is important that after today's session, you revise the prepositions in detail and you understand all the concepts thoroughly, because you would find multiple questions based on this area. In the coming sessions also, we'll continue further on prepositions and different usages of some of the confusing prepositions. As we've always said, make sure this journey of the session does not end here. You need to continue and you need to do a lot of practice. So here we come to the end of the session. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.